Welcome to Agfinity 2020 Virtual Annual Meeting. I'm Kent Kalsovic, Chairman of the Board.
And I'm Jason Bransel, Agfinity's President and CEO. If 2020 has taught us anything, it is this. It is even more important to maintain focus on our members and hold true to our tradition of transparent communication. Thank you for joining today's meeting and report on your local cooperative.
Due to the pandemic, our focus on safety and the present orders that are in place, we believe this is the best way to engage with our members and business partners who would normally attend our annual meeting in person. We do look forward to a time, and hopefully the not too distant future, when we will be able to engage with you all again in person.
Member interaction is extremely important to us, which is why we will be responding individually to any questions or concerns that you may have via email. Simply send your question to the email address below and we will respond as soon as possible. In addition, we will post a Q&A document on our website for all members to view after this meeting.
These are challenging times for all of Americans and for the world. The pandemic, the economic headwinds, and yes, divisive politics have made life difficult, to say the least. We recognize this, and yet we maintain a very optimistic outlook. Our country has faced many challenges in the past and has always risen to the occasion.
The strength of the American farmer and rancher continues to exemplify perseverance. Here at Agfinity, we feel a great sense of purpose as we remain a trustworthy resource for local farmers and ranchers as they continue to feed the world. Rain or shine, this is what has motivated us since 1905. We are honored to be part of your operational success and will do our part to continue your growth.
Today's program contains many of the traditional elements of a cooperative annual meeting, such as the approval of the minutes from last year's annual meeting, the nominating committee report, director election results, we'll have a board chairman report, a CEO report, and of course, a financial report. Once again, thank you for joining us today, and let us get started.
In 1905, our founders each invested $100 with hopes of building a bigger and brighter future. Their goal? Instill the cooperative difference and help farmers feed the world. Nearly 115 years later, the cooperative continues to grow and prosper. Boundaries are being pushed as we strive to provide the most innovative agronomy, energy, feed, grain, and retail services and products available. The cooperative difference remains at the heart of our operation, along with our passion to provide the best for our members, customers, and local communities. Because, simply put, it's what we love to do.
What I love about working at Agfinity is working with the people, with the customers, with my team members. And also when you walk out in the warehouse, it's a very peaceful, amazing, good place to be.
The thing I like about Agfinity, we have the ability to adapt and grow the company, to use that to help the community.
I think I probably have the best job in the world. It's so full of variety. We provide the best service that we can.
The main thing that I love about working here is what we call the cooperative difference.
The cooperative difference is really interesting. Not only are they members of the cooperative, so that means they're owners, they're also customers. We are able to see what we can do every single day for those customers' needs. They don't have to buy from us, but we want them to want to buy from us, and I'd say most of our customers do.
Overall, the cooperative difference can mean a lot of different things. For your local farmer, your local rancher, it means we're going to go above and beyond to serve you.
Today, we recognize that the needs of our members, customers, and local communities are vast and ever-changing. We are investing in our people, our processes, and our technology to continue providing the cooperative difference. From continuing to grow crops to offering reliable energy for your family, whether you're at home or on the road, to even assessing the nutritional needs of your livestock, the Agfinity team is here. We are honored to be serving you and look forward to growing the future together. Here's to the next 100 plus years.
At this time, I would like to introduce and recognize the hardworking and committed Agfinity board members. Tim Bernhardt, Paul Schlegel, Brian Howard, Tim Getline, Mary Kraft, Gabe Winter, and Josh Cleland. Thanks to each of you and your families for your time and your commitment to serving Agfinity. Next, I'd like to introduce our management team, President and CEO, Agfinity, Jason Bransel, and Jason's management team members, who are also an integral part of the cooperative success. Executive Vice President of Shared Services, Jeremy Hinkles, Executive Vice President of Agronomy, Mark Linsky, Executive Vice President of Feed and Grain, Dan Riddle, Executive Vice President of Energy and Retail, Les Lee, Controller Financial Reporting is Abe Barella, Controller of Accounting Operations, Luann Bernard, Director of Sales and Development and Marketing, Aaron Smith. And I would like to recognize the annual meeting planning committee members. This committee met on a weekly basis and did a fantastic job of putting together this year's virtual annual meeting. It contained Aaron Smith, Jeremy Hinkles, and Maggie Christensen. Maggie is our sales and marketing coordinator. And above all, I'd like to give a huge thanks to all 200 plus Agfinity employee team members that have worked hard and worked smart in a year full of unique challenges. What you do does make a difference. And thank you to our valued business partners and special guests who have joined us today virtually. We appreciate your continued support and the relationships that help us do what we do. We're glad that you are here. I will now call to order this year's virtual annual meeting. Our quorum requirements for this virtual annual meeting have been achieved in accordance with our bylaws through our mail-in ballots for director elections. I now call upon Board Secretary Paul Schlegel to give our proof of notice and review the approval for the annual meeting 2019 minutes. Paul?
Thank you, Kent. Ballot packets were mailed out to voting members in accordance with the bylaws. In that packet was a notice of the 2020 annual meeting of the Agfinity membership. Public notification was also given on the Agfinity website as well as social media, also in accordance with the bylaws. Due to restrictions on large group gatherings resulting from the COVID-19 pandemic, the meeting minutes from 2019 were included in your membership voting packets for member review and approval. We received an affirmative vote approving the 2019 annual meeting minutes with the ballots that you received. Thank you.
Thank you, Paul. Now I would like to provide my chairman's report. Your elected board of directors are responsible for working closely with the CEO to establish the mission, vision, and core values for the cooperative. We set the long-term direction for the cooperative. We work to build the financial strength and ensure that assets are in place to serve the member of today and the member of the future. We engage an audit firm, Clifton Larson Allen, to complete our financial year-end audit, and we listen carefully to the recommendations of the auditors to find ways to improve each year. Each year, we are charged with the task of reviewing financial information and data to make decisions relative to patronage refunds and member equity retirements. These are important aspects of the cooperative business model, and these set us apart from other businesses who may provide similar products and services. We, Agfinity, distribute our profits to our members in connection with the amount of business the member does with the cooperative. This is a big part of what we call the cooperative difference. Your board of directors meet monthly, and directors also serve on committees that meet throughout the year. In addition to these regular board and committee meetings, we participate in director training sessions and an annual off-site strategic planning session. We take our job seriously. We have some fun along the way and are honored to serve this fine cooperative. Another key aspect of the roles and responsibilities of a director is to communicate with the members of this cooperative. We attend customer meetings such as the agronomy answer plot, educational sessions, and are always looking for ways to engage with Agfinity members. Communication is and should be two-way. Listening to our members, or even their concerns, and telling members where the cooperative is today and where we see the cooperative going in the future. In the spirit of communication, I believe it is important to share that Agfinity made the decision to exit the tire, battery, and auto business during fiscal year 2020. After complete evaluation, the decision was made to seek a win-win strategy and maintain ownership of the cooperative's real estate and building and sell the business to a leading service provider. This plan will be a positive for the co-op's financial performance and maintain the necessary service in the community. With that, I'm happy to report that your cooperative completed another successful year. Despite many headwinds, both local net savings, as well as the balance sheet are strong and considered strong when benchmarked nationally against other farm supply and grain marketing cooperatives. An item I want to touch on is the capital expenditures during this time. Agfinity has maintained the balance sheet and has been diligent in investing in your facilities and the equipment while reducing debt. This is a commitment to the members' long-term needs and to the employees' needs for safe and functional equipment to do what they do. Jason Bransel and Abe Brella will share data and more detailed numbers with you in their reports. Due to the continued support of our members and management's focus on operational excellence, we will be returning $2.34 million in patronage refunds to members on fiscal year 2020 business. 50% of this will be in cash and the rest in deferred equity with a member's name on it that will be eligible for cash redemption in the future under the cooperative's equity retirement program. We are pleased with these results, and we are simultaneously focused on continuous improvement. An organization cannot stand still. Instead, it must be dynamic and agile, able to change and adapt. We honor our legacy and have great respect for that legacy. We know, however, we cannot rest. We need to continue working hard and smart to ensure the success in the future. It is for that reason we stay focused on growing with you, our members, as we look toward a bright future. As I wrap up my report, I want to again recognize the dedicated employees that have adapted to the everyday and the unprecedented leadership that Jason and the team have displayed during a disruptive and fatiguing year. Thank you. This concludes my chairman's report. Next on the agenda is the CEO's report.
Thank you, Kent. On Friday, February 28, 2020, I was in Minneapolis, Minnesota, watching developing news on the coronavirus. Earlier that week, I had attended the Land O'Lakes annual meeting and then conducted our Agfinity Board Strategic Planning session at the Land O'Lakes offices in Arden Hills, Minnesota. Although I had been following world news reports on the coronavirus since January, I had not really been concerned about the prospect of a global pandemic. As I watched the news on the situation developing in Washington State that evening, it became clear to me that the coronavirus would likely have a massive impact on the United States. Upon my return to Colorado on Monday, March 2nd, I convened our first Agfinity leadership team meeting on the topic of the coronavirus, believing we had a few days before the first cases in Colorado. Sure enough, the first case was announced here 3 days later, on March 5th. Our Agfinity Coronavirus Action Committee that started on March 2nd has met at least once per week ever since that very first meeting. In the late 1980s, business thought leader Warren Bennis developed ideas and a concept called VUCA. Later, in the 1990s, the Army War College introduced the concept of VUCA to describe a more volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous multilateral world following the end of the Cold War. As you might have guessed, VUCA is an acronym. What does it stand for? Volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity. VUCA is part of every military battle, and quite candidly, it is part of every day in business. How do we deal with VUCA? How do you deal with VUCA in your life and in your business? Business leaders must counter VUCA with planning and execution that brings a different meaning to the acronym. It looks like this: vision, understanding, communication, and agility. Your cooperative, during uncertain times, maintains a clear vision. We are an essential business. We provide essential products and services through an engaged team of professional employees. There is not a pivot away from that during a pandemic. There is a fortification of that vision. It is a time to deliver. Understanding. We have worked hard to create a continuous learning engine at Agfinity that helps us understand uncertain and complex situations. We have harnessed the power of a continuous learning engine to translate data into insights that drive actions. COVID or no COVID, creating a continuous learning engine is a trait of successful organizations. It was Jack Welch, longtime chairman and CEO of GE, who said, "An organization's ability to learn and translate that learning into action rapidly is the ultimate competitive advantage." Communication. How do you communicate with employees and members during a pandemic? You start early, and you create clarity with that communication. Some of our cooperative members have told me that we were the first organization that they received communication from on the coronavirus. We have accelerated our use of new and different ways to communicate throughout this pandemic. While some cooperative peers are simply canceling their membership annual meeting, we are communicating with you through the accelerated use of technology. The technology is not new, but the accelerated use of it is new to most of us these past 8 months. The A in VUCA for successful organizations must stand for agility. Can you and those around you be agile in uncertain and complex times? At Agfinity, our workforce is a combination of frontline employees and those that provide support for those frontline employees. We have been incredibly agile in adapting to measures that had to be taken to keep our members, employees, and communities safe. While uncertainty and ambiguity have been a part of every day, we have not missed a beat delivering quality products and services to our members who are busy with their work of feeding the world. Abe Barella will be sharing the details of the fiscal year 2020 financial statement shortly. While the pandemic has hurt our business in certain areas, we finished our year on June 30th with solid financial performance. We face headwinds that are now affecting this fiscal year that started July 1st. Despite that, we continue to build financial strength through earnings and sound balance sheet management. We take the long-term view and are optimistic about today and the future. I would like to share a few highlights from the fiscal year 2020 with you. As Kent shared in his comments, we exited a non-core business unit and executed on our strategy to transition our auto care and Band-Aid recap business to a multi-state operator with core competencies that will continue to serve Agfinity members well. We are investing in our retail assets, namely our Greeley 16th Street Cenex branded convenience store with new tanks, dispensers, and a full exterior and interior remodeling. And we will be remodeling the interior of our Eaton convenience store next. In fiscal year 2020, the Board of Directors provided approvals for the construction of a brand new Cenex branded convenience store on Agfinity property in the town of Meade. This will grow our top line, provide a solid return on investment, and add value for the community. We continue to update and replace important rolling stock, assets that drive operational excellence and increase our relevance to our members. We've entered into a strategic partnership with Commodity Ag, an e-commerce crop protection product platform, and we set up an e-commerce distribution center at our Eaton Agronomy location. This serves the grower of today and the grower of tomorrow. No matter who you are, what you do for a living, or where you live, there have been many hardships and lessons learned this year. Whether you experienced loss of loved ones or simply even loss of time with loved ones, that should not go unrecognized. The human spirit continues to exemplify perseverance. We will continue to grow from this. At Agfinity, we are investing in our people, building out technology tools and platforms, and improving processes, all with the member of today and the member of the future at the heart of these strategies. It is a very exciting time, and we are indeed optimistic, even in the midst of volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity. Your cooperative is and will continue to execute on our vision, improve our understanding, communicate, and be agile. I always close with gratitude. Thank you to the amazing team of engaged employees, the committed board of directors, and each Agfinity member for making fiscal year 2020 successful. This concludes my CEO report. Next on the agenda is the financial report.
Hello and welcome to the financial reporting segment of Agfinity's 2020 virtual annual meeting. My name is Abe Barella and I'm the Controller of Financial Reporting and Systems. We will begin our financial review highlighting results from Agfinity's Statement of Operations. Despite having a year with many uncertain economic conditions caused by COVID-19, Agfinity sales were over $219 million for fiscal year 2020 and are comparable to prior year, as well as gross profit, which remained steady at 14%. Total operating expenses increased by $1.2 million in fiscal year 2020, which contributed in decreasing local net savings to $1.9 million as compared to prior year of $2.8 million. Net savings of $6.9 million for fiscal year 2020 was $1.1 million higher than prior year. Agfinity's earnings history continues to remain stable and is achieving positive results of local net savings for each of the past 3 years. Moving on to the balance sheet. Total assets and total liabilities decreased from prior year by 4%, primarily related to the closure of a wholly owned subsidiary and business operating unit within Agfinity. Here are some key balance sheet metrics. Working capital measures a company's liquidity, operational efficiency, and short-term financial health, was $16.3 million at fiscal year end. Working capital has continued to increase for each of the past 3 years, even while utilizing working capital for capital projects. The current ratio increased from 1.33 in the prior year to 1.71 in fiscal year 2020, which indicates Agfinity's continual ability to meet its short-term obligations. The long-term debt equity percentage decreased from 3% to 2% as increased working capital allowed for more debt payoff during the year. Other financial highlights include Agfinity's investment in projects totaling $2.7 million, of which $323,000 was invested in expansion capital, referred to as growth capital, and $2.4 million in operating capital, referred to as maintenance capital. The total capital outlay was deployed across all divisions and for technology-related projects. In summarizing Agfinity's fiscal year financial performance, local and net earnings continue to remain positive for the past 3 years. Working capital has increased, debt has decreased, cash returned to members through cash patronage and equity retirement refunds has been substantial. In the past 3 years, Agfinity has returned $6.1 million in cash to its members. Your cooperative is financially strong and poised for growth. I would also like to give you some additional detail on this year's patronage refund. Agfinity, based on fiscal year 2020 member business, will pay $2.3 million in patronage refunds, 50% or $1.17 million will be in cash, with the remaining 50% issued in qualified notices of allocated equity. Section 199A deduction will be utilized fully at the cooperative level, which drives tax efficiency. A patronage refund like this is not possible without the strong support of our members. We call this the Cooperative Difference. Thank you for attending the financial reporting segment of Agfinity's 2020 virtual annual meeting.
Thank you, Abe. The next portion of our annual meeting is typically the Q&A session. We believe that transparency and communication are of the utmost importance at Agfinity. During the meeting registration, you were provided details on submitting a question. You are also able to submit questions via the email address provided during this slide. We will respond to each question after this annual meeting, and as previously mentioned, we will also post a question and answer summary on our website so all members can benefit by your questions and our answers. We welcome your questions, ideas, and feedback 365 days a year. So please reach out at any time. We are here to help and greatly appreciate member engagement. Next on the agenda are the election results. There were 2 board seats up for election this year, 1 at large and 1 for District 2. All positions are for a 3-year term. Now I ask Paul Schlegel, board member and chair of the nominating committee, to come up and give the report. Paul?
Serving on the nominating committee this year were myself as committee chair and cooperative members Ashley Edstrom and Jeff Rasmussen. The committee met weekly during the process and engaged with numerous cooperative members and prospective candidates. Thank you, Ashley and Jeff, for serving on this year's nominating committee. All candidates on the ballot met the requirements set forth in the bylaws and policies of Agfinity. All were willing to serve and fulfill the duties of a director as stated within the bylaws and policies. Certified public accounting firm CLA reviewed all ballots per the bylaws set forth by the Board of Directors for Agfinity and have tallied the results of this year's election. For the at-large position, Mary Kraft has been re-elected. For District 2 position, Tim Barnhart has been re-elected. Thank you.
Thank you, Paul. Congratulations, Mary and Tim, and thank all of those who have joined us today for our first ever virtual annual meeting. You are at the heart of this cooperative.
Indeed, we are honored to be serving you in all your past and present endeavors and look forward to growing the future together. Stay safe and stay well.
Thank you.